friend, and welcome to Borgcast Specially Short Treks Drunk Thing.
Oh gosh, that's a good start. We watched all of 5 shorts this evening, and you're drunk. Were you drinking shorts? Was that? When I said it we're doing short treks, I didn't mean that you'd been necking back the gin.
Oh, it's been a week. Sorry, it's been a day. I did a 10-hour day. I'm about to have my 3rd pint in a very short space of time, given how little time it took to watch the short trek.
Yes, you'd normally do 2 pints in 2 hours watching 2 episodes or something, and okay.
I think I've done 2 pints in 10 minutes.
So the short treks are finally released. Huzzah! We had to wait long enough, including some stuff that we'll have seen before, but also some stuff that was never legally shown in this country. There are people who have managed to see them, but we always said we'd cover this when you could legally watch them, and the release of short treks enables you to do that. So, what does it include? Well, it includes the short treks we're familiar with from between seasons 1 and 2.
Yep.
Runaway.
Run away.
Yeah.
This remains my personal favourite.
I enjoyed it a lot more this time round. Particularly because now we know how it feeds into season 2. It's not just some weird thing that's happening to Tilly. It's actually something that's, they can then pull out their pocket for later on. So that was nice. And actually, I was in because a lot of the time, one of my issues with these short treks is like the budget that they apply to them means that, it always looks a bit cheap. I mean, this one suffers a bit from so Tilly mostly just being on her own in a room. But having said that, the effects for Poe sort of cloaking herself, I thought were actually very good.
Yeah,
so.
I think she's a well-designed character, and I liked it even before we knew how it connected in.
Yeah. I mean, the bit that really irked me was the fact that you don't see Tilly's mom properly, and that's clearly so they can use a more expensive actor later on down the line, but, we'll live with that. At the end's a bit weird, where Poe just gets beamed seemingly into space. Presumably Tilly is beaming her to her spacecraft or something, but it just looks like Tilly's beamed her into the void of space, which seems a bit cruel, but never mind.
No. I like the interaction between the two characters. Mm-hmm. For me, it remains my favourite short trek.
Yeah. And then if we put that together with The Brightest Star, which is the other one that really laid some pipe for season 2, which was the one all about Saru.
Yeah. It's okay. I still find it a bit odd. I still find his whole thing a bit odd, to be honest. I don't mean his character. Mm-hmm. I mean the ground that they've tried to lay with his species and everything is, I don't know. I think I still find it weird, to be honest. They
do come across as being a bit stupid, don't they, really? They'll let themselves, be dominated by other species. But now we've actually seen them. They do look quite scary, at least, in the series. So, yeah. It's okay, and it exists for a purpose, which is to give you a bit of more background on Saru, which a lot of people were calling out for. So not bad. But of course, those two were included in the season 1. Season 2 Blu Ray.
Season 2, yeah.
So we've already got those, so that's great. Also included in that between the seasons was Calypso,
which. I'm sure it's going to play out now that Discovery's been flung into the far future. But I still just found it an odd episode. I didn't really get on with it.
Very, very random, odd. Yeah. Trek does Wally, basically. In a big way, including the song and dance number.
I think it had those weird shit camera angles. And
lots of twists in the camera.
And it was just... For me, it was just like, what is this? It's for me, that needed, if they were going to do anything with it at all, that needed to be a proper filled-out episode of a thing. I don't think it worked at all as a short.
The other one was the one I enjoyed the most, which is The Escape Artist, which, Harcourt Fenton Mud.
Yeah.
And his robots.
I do enjoy this one, yes.
And this one feels like it's got a bit of budget as well. It's got a starship. It's got several starships. In fact, it's got the piggy people. Turellians, possibly. Yeah. Anyway, very good stuff. I enjoy that one. Lots of good humour in it. And that's far more than what I wanted to see, rather than the much darker one we got in season 1 of Discovery. So yeah.
Also, I think in the same way as the Tilly one is a self-contained story.
Yeah.
This is also a self-contained story.
Yeah. And it has a punchline as
Yeah,
well. I mean, if you're going to do these little short treks, a punchline I think is a pretty good idea. And that's possibly a lesson I think they picked up on with the others, which we saw for the first time this evening.
Yes.
So, we start with Q&A, which sounds like it ought to be a department store, but isn't.
C&amp.
That's C&A, isn't it? Sorry, yes. Which went bust some years ago, didn't it?
Quite a few years ago, like 20 years ago maybe. Bloody hell.
I must get a new coat.
Come to C&A. We've got a world of clothes for you.
A world of fashion that's international.
Paris? Plymouth, actually.
Even when you're casual, you've still got style.
This is nice.
C&A has the flair and a quality care we look at closely, because we know you will too.
I shouldn't really.
Look at the flair. Look at the care.
I can't.
Well, you can't buy just a coat, can you?
There's a world of clothes at C&A.
Where fashion costs less, as always.
Right, so the whole reason for this existing was written to explain why the Spock of the Cage is different to the Spock of the rest of the original series onwards. Did you pick up on that?
No.
No, I wouldn't have known had I not looked at the notes. Because the idea is, that if you remember him from the Cage, he's very smiley and laughy. You know, he laughs at the blue plants and he smiles a lot. And apparently the reason why he doesn't from then on inwards is because he takes on board the lessons from number 1 that he learns in this short trek. Which, of course, happens before the events of the Cage. So that doesn't really work. But never mind. Never mind. Perhaps he just forgot for a while and then remembered again.
Oh, bloody hell. It just confuses it all the more.
I know. Add to that the fact they're wearing uniforms that they were supposedly new in Brother in 2257. And here they are in 2254 wearing them. So Pike's definition of new is pretty appalling. It's up there with my idea of what new music is, which is basically anything from the 90s or earlier.
Well, Pike has got grey hair, maybe. He suffers with the same problem.
Love to see the Enterprise sets again. Very shiny and lovely. The turbo lifts are as stupid as the Discovery ones on the outside. Oh dear. Never mind. The chief engineer has a very odd... Is that a Welsh accent? I'm not sure. It's played by somebody called Samora Smallwood, who's from Canada. But yeah, that was like... Initially I thought it was Scottish, and then I thought, no, it's going more Welsh. It sort of travelled around the world, that accent, but never mind.
Oh, well, presumably then an homage to Jimmy Doohan.
Yeah, possibly. Yes. Just do a crap accent like Jimmy Doohan. All right. And we get, of course, Gilbert and Sullivan again, because Trek and Gilbert and Sullivan apparently are best buddies for some reason. Okay. I mean, you just can't hear it without thinking of Worf and Picard in that joy that is... which one is it they sing that in? That's in...
is that in the bollocky one, Insurrection?
Insurrection, isn't it? Yes. Yes. Things to not make you think of. But generally, I enjoyed it. I like the interplay between number 1 and Spock. I thought was okay. I thought this was probably... Oh, I can't remember the name of the guy who plays Spock now. Isn't that terrible?
Ethan Peck?
Ethan Peck, yes. It's probably Peck's best performance as Spock. I mean, obviously, slightly helps that he doesn't have the beard, but also he seemed to have the mannerisms more down in this.
Yeah, but half of Discovery is supposed to be broken Spock, though, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So he's not supposed to have the mannerisms down.
Yeah, well, we literally only didn't see him without the beard until the final scene, so yes. But ultimately, yes, this feels a bit more like proper Spock, doesn't it? So that's all right. Number 1's an interesting character. Still quite enigmatic, as she should be. I like the... again, I can't remember the actor who's playing her, but she's very good.
Oh, is it Rebecca Romijn? Something
Yeah, that
like
sounds about right as well. Gosh, you're doing well with names tonight. Yeah, so I thought it was okay. I mean, they could have done without the GNS, but there we go. Apparently that's the thing with Trek.
I kind of like the idea that you're all normal, and it's only when a crisis hit and the shit hits the fan you're that fucking mad enough to go to a Gilbert and Sullivan place.
Yes, desperation strikes and you go to a GNS place.
Yeah,
yes.
I kind of like that as an idea.
Yes.
I think
I'm surprised the self-destruct countdowns on Starfleet ships aren't all sung in a GNS style.
Oh,
really.
damn. I think the only thing, or the two things I didn't like about it, besides the fact that just how fucking silly are the turbo lifts, are Spock laughing. I know it might be tying into the Cage somehow, but it still seems weird and wrong, particularly if this is supposed to be
how he learned to be more buttoned
yeah,
up and
it's-
stuff.
that
It doesn't work.
That doesn't work. And also, bearing in mind, she's number 1 and he's an ensign. That's a big gap.
Mm-hmm.
She's too flirty.
Is it flirty? I can't tell, but
There are moments.
I think the idea is they only get that close because they've been stuck in a turbolift.
Yeah, but even so, just know, maintain professional distance.
Also, of course, I'm watching it all the time going, stand 2 metres apart, stand 2 metres apart.
But she's not behaving that way initially, don't get me wrong. It is happening later, but he is still a newbie ensign and she is way ahead of him in command. And to me, she came across as flirty, and I just don't. That's just not appropriate. That's not professional behaviour. I'm
not sure I got flirty from it. Interestingly,
it was the bit where the camera's circling around her.
Well, I was probably closing my eyes at that point because I hate it when they start doing that.
Okay. But anyway, to me, it came across as flirty, and I just don't see number 1 as behaving unprofessionally.
So that was C&A. And then
God, I do like though. One of the lines I really liked.
Yeah.
Is that to name the 3 most important things about Captain Pike. He's utterly unsentimental, except when it comes to horses.
So wonderfully random, Matt. Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, he's a brony.
Right. Okay. He's My Little Pony fan.
Yeah, I've just decided it's headcanon.
Do you think he dresses up and everything? Oh boy.
Applejack.
Captain Applejack, as you shall be from here onwards. Okay. Then we have the trouble with Edward. The Trill one. Okay, so we got more contradictions here because, they drop all these continuity references and then at the same time they break
Fuck
continuity.
it all up at the same time.
Yeah, so suddenly we've got Tribbles here are not replicating quickly except they do back in Enterprise. So that doesn't work, but never mind. Nice to see a Trill. Well, that was quite good.
But I didn't think Trills were in Starfleet at this point, or maybe they were.
I think they are, yes. No, I don't think that's an issue. Certainly they were in the Diplomatic Corps, we know, as well.
Okay.
So it wasn't like Dax ever said she was the first Trill in Starfleet. So I think that's okay.
I think I'm thinking more of that one that didn't look like that, called Odan.
Yeah, that they didn't know much. Yes, to be honest, it's not worth.
Just forget Odan and then the rest works.
And that episode's worth forgetting anyway.
No, that's
it?
true.
So, yeah.
Okay, forget Odan and the rest. I'm with that. That's all right.
And I love the USS. Is it Cabot? Cabot? It's a
Cabot? Don't know.
No,
Turbot?
No, it's not USS Turbot.
Piscine.
Piscine
That's swimming pool.
No, fish-like. That's what piscine means.
No, piscine is French for swimming pool.
I know, but it's also fish-like in English, which is what I speak.
Is it?
Yes. It's a nice design, this McGee class. Quite like it. Science ships, mostly saucer.
Dingus McGee.
Dingus McGee, dirty Dingus McGee, rotten to the core, plain, mean and ornery. I've lived a life of sin, and let me tell you, come condemn, I'm a better man.
Oh no! Well, we can't play out to that because we've had that already, but...
Oh dear.
Named after Dingus McGee.
Yeah, it is now. That's what it is. I like that spaceship.
Yeah, it's cool. Excellent
I like
stuff.
that spaceship.
I mean, the thing is obviously very silly.
Oh, very. When he's wearing just his pants, standing in the fucking corridor, bloody hell.
You do wonder how he got that far in Starfleet, don't
Well, you see, we should worry the same about Reg Barclay.
Mm-hmm. True enough, but he makes Reg Barclay seem quite normal, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
We get another tune. It's not a GNS one this time. Apparently, it's Johnny Appleseed by Bing Crosby. Oh. Yeah, because we needed that.
That really fucked me off when that was playing.
Why are we hearing this? This is bizarre. But anyway, I suppose, again, the far worse thing, I mean, at least it's not Beastie Boys. Yes, I love the crewman sucking up the trills with a big vacuum cleaner.
I like that.
Back-mounted. That was just brilliant.
And you know what it made me think of?
Yeah?
Teletubbies, the new.
Yeah! Yeah. And that advert at the end.
Oh, fucking hell.
An end credit scene. I mean, that clearly is just silly nonsense, but it's...
Oh, I liked it though. And it came with, like, if you freeze frame, it actually came with things like warning, recommend that you shave the cereal first and things. Because fur can be a choking hazard.
And you kind of felt for the new captain losing a ship within days.
And she's facing this sort of tribunal thing, and she just goes, he was an idiot. And it's like, yeah,
I don't quite know why they felt the need to tie it in to the Enterprise, her leaving the Enterprise. I mean, in a way, I suppose we'd have gone, why is this? We're following this random person, and the only reason we're following her is because she left the Enterprise right at the beginning, which seems a bit odd, but there we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was amusing enough. Wasn't offensive. Just wish they could deal with their continuity problems a bit better, but never mind.
Yeah.
Then Ask Not, which I thought was really good. I was well impressed with that one.
First of all, the moment it was Pike, I'm like, yeah, this is a test.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'd figured it out straight away. But he played it really well, I thought.
Yeah,
Anson
but
Mount,
if I can figure out it's a test, why can't she fucking figure out it's a test?
I don't know.
They're all supposed to be really super intelligent, aren't they?
Uh-huh.
So that's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is, I really did not like the whole thing about your husband is in jeopardy, let's save your husband, and then, I made it up, haha.
Uh-huh.
No, that's cruel.
Right.
And so we had to see, how you behave if your loved ones are on the line. No, that's a shit excuse. You've just emotionally abused that cadet. Mm-hmm. Plus, she's only a fucking cadet. Why does she have to go through all that shit just to go on the Enterprise? I thought it was going to be, you've passed, you're now a fully fledged officer. Mm-hmm. Not, you can carry on being a cadet on the Enterprise. That's way too much for that. And then they go, oh yeah, it was designed by our number one. Haha. So that makes number one seem like a completely cruel, callous bitch willing to emotionally manipulate and abuse people just so they can get a fucking post on the Enterprise.
Well, they do say that she's a tough nut, so this kind of goes
there's
to prove
a difference between a tough nut and telling somebody their husband is going to die when it's just a fucking test.
I don't know. I don't have a problem with that.
If they did that, people did that to me, I'd fucking lamp them.
Well, then you would fail the test. That's the difference there, isn't it?
They'd fucking learn their lesson, though. Wouldn't put any other bugger through that bollocks, I tell you.
Yeah. Oh, I rather liked it. It was good. I thought Anson Mount just turned on the dime. When he goes from, being all, don't point that face at me, blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, it's all right, she's passed. It was like, hey! And I thought Amrit Kaur as Sidhu was very engaging.
Yeah.
She's a really good character. Kind of hope she turns up in the spin-off series.
No, I liked her. And I think I might have felt differently about the whole thing had it been that was like the equivalent of the Kobayashi Maru.
Well, so yes.
If she'd passed and become an officer as a result of that, it just felt really, really disproportionate for somebody who's a cadet to go and still stays as a cadet just to serve on the Enterprise.
Really?
And no, don't do that. The whole sort of, your husband's on this ship and all the rest of it. Just no, wrong. Morally wrong, bad, no.
The only problem I had with it was the fact that engineering looks nothing like it did in the original series. I mean, what they've normally done is they've taken, the original series bridge and they've just made it a bit bigger and shinier, and likewise with the corridors and stuff. But with engineering, looks nothing like it did in either designs in the original series.
Do you know what it reminded me of more? When they were...
A warehouse?
No, I think it's Jedi. When they go into the bunker... And then it's obviously like a matte painting or whatever behind them.
Or the massive, great big sparky thing. You think, how does that fit on the
massive, great big sparky thing disproportionate to the space? Yeah, that's where my brain went.
Yeah, there's somebody. One of the people the person who designed the look of turbo lifts on the outside and the look of engineering. Really, oh dear, don't know what they're on.
No,
but it's strong stuff, clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. Well, that split us down the middle. I was asking, you were not, or clearly.
Yeah, big not.
But those 1, 2, 3, yes, 3 together kind of make nice sort of tasters for the what are they going to call it? The Pike spin-off, the Enterprise. I don't know what they're going to call it, but anyway,
yeah,
I'm
looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I can Anson Mount. Wow, brilliant stuff. Forgotten how much I missed him actually. Interestingly, that was nice. Then we move on to slightly more surreal elements. Ephraim and Dot. What did we make of this?
I've literally got one line,
and
it just says WTF.
Right, okay. Yeah. There's elements to this I liked. I mean, the animation style.
Oh, no, that's true.
Not
I
too
like
bad.
the look of the animation. Yes.
Kind of in keeping, funnily enough, but slightly better, thankfully, than with the animated series.
Yeah.
They messed up. yet again, yeah, they use all these continuity things, but they mess it up because they're all in the wrong order. But never mind. Perhaps the tardigrade travels through time or something. I can't remember.
Well, yeah, because arguably yes, because it's travelling my mycelial network. So
more seriously, why is the Enterprise marked Enterprise A in pre-Star Trek 4 events in the movie timeline? That makes no sense.
They had the Fonz on board temporarily.
No. And why didn't the tardigrade get its eggs when the Enterprise was having the refit? It had been stuck still for ages then. It would have got its chance to go... Am I taking this too seriously? I'm taking this too seriously, aren't I? I got that look.
Fucking hell.
That's the obvious moment when it could have caught up and got the eggs.
Oh, bloody hell. I mean, it's a fucking cartoon of a fucking tardigrade in space, and it's friendly, clearly out of fucking continuity robot thing shit.
Well, yeah, unfortunately the robot things were in Discovery as well, weren't they?
Yeah, but
have no place in Star Trek. I'm sorry, droids do not exist in the Star Trek universe. It's just ridiculous.
But sorry, that is way too serious. That's on a par with, what is it, the sand people wouldn't have a economic basis in Star Wars. The fuck it was that Colin Gaisley came out with.
Oh god, I forgot all about that. That's dredged up from the past. Wow.
So, but it's on a par. You went Gaisley.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Cool. That is a criticism. The narrator at the beginning of the end, Kirk Thatcher, who was the punk from Star Trek 4.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say he's son of Margaret. Or...
No, wouldn't be. Yes. Yeah. So there you are. Nice. I don't know whether they thought I must get that punk to narrate. He also did a load of props and things for the movies. But anyway, yeah, it was an odd one. I think it's fair to say. And
yeah.
I didn't quite know what sort of. I mean, it was obviously aimed at Trek fans because of all the continuity stuff, even though they mixed and jumbled it up. But also, it's aimed at kids, and the kids are going to be going, "Why is there a giant Abraham Lincoln floating in space?" It's like, you need to know your original series Trek to get those things. But on the other hand, it's playing out like a Warner Brothers cartoon, and I
don't know that it was necessarily.
Well, all the tumbling and down corridors stuff, and a lot of it was very Warner Brothers. It may as well have been Roadrunner and Coyote, mightn't it?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what that was. Hence. WTF, really.
Although I enjoyed it a lot more, I enjoyed the girl who made the stars.
I couldn't get on with the animation style.
If Disney did Star Trek, I hadn't realised that. Yeah, they were going to try and get Disney to buy Star Trek as well. I mean, they may as well. It's monopoly after all, isn't it? So, yeah, that was bloody weird. I couldn't get on with the animation style either. Mike Burnham is voiced by Kenrick Green, who played him in Perpetual Infinity. So that's a bit of continuity, I guess. And I hadn't realised he's the partner of Sonequa Martin Green, which kind of does my head in knots, but never mind. But, yeah, I mean, it's very short, at least. But again, seemed to be very aimed at kids. I mean, at least that one didn't have loads of continuity things that would bamboozle any kids, I suppose. It was just a weird thing about Baby Michael. Baby Michael. No, maybe not.
No, my favourite moment was when
babies.
My favourite moment is when the friendly alien appeared and you just went vagina.
The bottom half particularly did look like a giant lady's parts. Unfortunately, I did tell that a tennis Call of Cthulhu meets porn. It wasn't good. Oh dear.
The other thing that got me is it would appear that Michael has a cuddly tardigrade.
Which makes no sense, because the tardigrade was a bit of a surprise later on when she was an adult.
Yeah. Just...
just weird. What were they thinking? Anyway, I would love to know what the thinking was behind that one. Unfortunately, whilst there is an extra, there's some commentaries, although there might be a commentary on that one while explaining, I don't know. But we didn't listen to commentaries. But there is an extra, which is 4 minutes, of which 2 minutes
of credits.
Not just credits, but also clips from the stuff you've just watched, which always annoys me, of why they made the short treks, which was basically because they wanted some content for CBS, basically. Is the honest answer. They never actually completely say that, but so basically say, we need some content quickly, so we did these. Yeah, no Children of Mars though, because that's presumably going to be on the Picard box set. I mean, either that, or they're going to bring it out on the Blu Ray all of its own for 14 quid. They better not.
Oh.
So yeah, it's a bit of a... Do you think it's worth 14 quid?
No.
Are you sure? You're not going to think about that?
No. Fucking isn't. Sorry, it just isn't.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you wait around long enough, it'll probably go down in price.
Just no, it's not. I mean...
Yeah. I enjoyed the PikEprise. What are we going to call this? I don't know. Because I keep wanting to say PikEprise, because you can't call it the Enterprise stuff, because we have a series called Enterprise, or we're talking about the original series. So PikEprise is now what I'm calling
Right.
anything that's Pike based on. I thought those three were okay. And shiny. And yes, and I as I say, I do love the Escape Artist as well. That's good fun. So I'm glad I've got that to be able to watch when I want to now.
I like the Tilly one.
And you like the Tilly one. So, it's not a complete waste of money. It's just arguably not worth 14
No,
quid.
I'm not saying it's a waste. It was a waste of money. I think it's overpriced, specifically. I'm not saying, it's not worth 2p or anything like that.
But like
no,
I say,
but not
if you
14
wait
quid.
6 months, it'll probably be down to about 8 quid, which is far more reasonable,
That's,
I think.
more what I'd expect, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Although, to be honest, what I'd really expect is that they're each on the respective DVDs.
Well, that would have been nice, but I suppose arguably that would have been because there's about an hour and a half when you put it all together. And obviously they wouldn't have had to put the two they already put on the season 2 Blu-ray, but even so, that's still quite a sizable amount of extras, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I can kind of see why. I think it deserved a separate release. It just deserved to be a cheaper separate release.
Yeah, I
but
think
there
so.
you go.
And it may be that the only reason they've released them as a DVD is because the actual season 3 of Discovery is going to have to air later because of COVID, and so they tried to put something out there. Whereas, had COVID not happened,
I suppose
they might have added it onto the season 3.
Again, it would have been a lot of stuff on season 3, though. I'm not sure they would have fitted it all on. So
Yeah, I don't know. I've got no problem with the idea of it being a separate release,
it just should have been a bit more budget, I think.
but it should have been cheaper.
Yeah.
And I think it should have been. Those all should have been on Netflix ages ago
Yes.
in this
Well.
country. I get why the Mars one wouldn't have been because of the Picard link, but the others should have been on Netflix ages ago in the UK.
Yeah. Hey who. Shall we find out what other people thought?
Yeah.
We have heard from the God of Llamas.
Lammertslag, Scuntate, Fika, Check, Kurjig. I like to think there are always possibilities. Finally, at last, the Star Trek Discovery short treks then. Worth the wait, and I think worth waiting for. The thing that I love about these most of all is that they use the opportunity of doing much smaller, shorter stories to do things that are different and new to Trek. The question you then have to ask, of course, is, should they? And the answer is, I don't know, but I like that they tried. The most obviously Trek, more straightforward one, is Q&A, which shows Spock's arrival on the Enterprise. And this is a lovely little thing, a lovely little two-hander of two people trapped in a lift, your classic story, trying to figure out how to get along. And it's just really nice, especially when we get number 1 there. And what it's doing, in a way, is really trying to reconcile the Spock that we see in the cage the very first time, and reconcile him with a character that we later discover in the rest of the original series, and compared to some of the characteristics that number 1 possesses, which are actually more Spock-like. Now, obviously, the behind-the-scenes reasoning for that is that the network wanted to get rid of either number 1 or Spock, and so Roddenberry decided that he'd keep the alien and marry the woman, because of course he would, because what else was Roddenberry in this for in the first place? But ultimately, elements of her character ended up in Spock, and there's been at least one of the expanded universe, I don't know what you call them in Star Trek, one of the expanded universe books that tries to reconcile these differences, and so it's interesting to see that someone else has come up with the same sort of idea, or maybe they'd read the same books that I did. I can't remember which one it was now, it was a long time ago. But yeah, it's a lovely little piece, which does, however, beg the question, given that Starfleets are meant to be about diversity, although we also know from watching Next Generation how much it isn't, but it's meant to be about diversity, so why is it they all have to suppress their freakiness? I mean, is this why the Enterprise D becomes such a hotbed of such fucked up peak crew members who have obsessions with the holodeck fantasies and stalking ghost women and trombones and stuff? Is this why the Enterprise D ends up like that, because all the freakiness has to go somewhere? But still, if you have to suppress your individuality, then that suggests that the Starfleet that we see at least in the 24th century isn't anywhere near as advanced as they like to think they are, because they should be embracing that differences, the individuality. So yeah, it's interesting to see anyway. The Trouble with Edward was just fun. I love that. Did we actually need a backstory for the origins of the Tribbles? No, not really, although, when you think about them from an evolutionary point of view, they don't make any sense. So it was given a backstory. You don't need it. If you never saw this, it doesn't matter. It was just a fun, standalone little thing, and I think worth it for this serial advert at the end alone. Straying a bit further from Trek, we've got the the Ephraim and Dot, which is a lovely little animation. Now, obviously, you can argue some of the pedantic technical points, which is, the tardigrade's eggs would not have stayed there, because when they refitted the Enterprise, they overhauled the engines as well. But, hey, go on, it's just a little cartoon. Does it actually have to have ever happened? Does it have to be part of Star Trek canon? Doesn't have to be, really. You could say, because we know the Enterprise didn't have any of those robots, but Discovery shows the Enterprise did have little droids, so, yeah, I guess that's a retcon that we have to live with. But it's just a fun little journey through Trek continuity, and for what it is, I really enjoyed it. And The Girl Who Made the Stars was also really nice. In some respects, it's a sort of subpar Disney, sub-Moana wannabe kind of adventure, but at the same time, it gives a little backstory to Michael Burnham, and it's just a nice little bit of animation. It's a nice little folk story, and again, the fact that it's animated means that it doesn't have to be ultra-realistic. They can dive deep into the story and show us what the actual story is like playing out in Michael's head. So, yeah, that's kind of nice. I just like it. So, ultimately, none of these are essential, but they do show how far you can play with the format of a show like Star Trek, given it's meant to be about brave new worlds, infinite diversity, and infinite combinations. We should be seeing more of this thing. So, as an experiment, I really like it. As I said at the start, should they have done this? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't hurt anything, does it really? We're used to seeing Trek in a pretty standard form. I know the style of storytelling changes over the years. Discovery, for example, is very different to Next Generations, is very different to the original series. But at the same time, they're the same type of story, but just altered through the lens of how television storytelling itself has changed throughout the years. So take that away, and ultimately they are told in pretty much the same way. So is this a touch of variation too far? I don't know, for little self-contained things like this. I don't think so. The true test really is going to be Lower Decks when that hits very soon, which is not just a little self-contained things, but it's going to be a whole series of very, very different type of Star Trek stories. So it'll be interesting to see, in light of these short treks, quite how well we'll take to that style of animation. I guess that remains to be seen. But yeah, these short treks, a lot of fun, and yeah, I like them for what they are. As ever, I'll be interested to hear what everyone else makes of these. I'm not entirely sure you're going to love all of them, but hey, I could be wrong. And I look forward to joining you again when the next Trek series airs, whatever one that's going to be. Until then, glory to you and your cast.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. You're right, the tribbles make no evolutionary sense, so the idea that somebody fucked with them at some point.
Yeah.
Ooh, possibly quite literally, ooh.
Yeah. But again, that was kind of dealt with in Enterprise, so learn your continuity, you plonkers.
Well, but then part of the problem is the Enterprise continuity.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
It's a recurring problem.
It is. He also went to a Colin Gaisley place.
Yeah, you see the refit. That would have sorted it all out. All the eggs have been gone. Yeah. And as subpar Disney, funny enough, I was expecting them to start singing Hakuna Matata at any minute. So yeah.
Yeah.
And as for Lower Decks, well,
none of us were impressed by the trailer.
No.
Although
our son said, "We pity you having to watch that for your podcast." It was like, son, I don't think we are.
Well, no, we'll give one episode a go and see how we feel after that. And then, if necessary, if I like it and you don't, we can break out the emergency podcast hologram.
What? I'm sure he'll love that. I watched the trailer the second time with the sound off.
Okay.
It's a lot better.
Yeah.
My issue isn't with the animation style.
No.
My issue is with the irritating nails down a blackboard voice acting.
Yeah.
Where everything's at super fast speed and screeching and horrible, and it's just like, it's better be just like the only scenes that are screeching horrible. There better be some more low-key, normal bits.
Sometimes a trailer can do either a film or a series a disservice.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to dismiss something on the basis of the trailer. I want to see what it's like.
Yeah. We will give it a go, but if it is as bad as it seemingly might be, we will literally just cover the first episode or two.
Yeah, because we're not interested in having a podcast hating on Trek as a whole.
Exactly.
Hating on one individual episode of something we don't like is one thing.
Yes.
Hating on a whole series, that's why we haven't done Voyager.
Yeah.
So if we don't like Lower Decks, we won't do it.
No.
Somebody else out there will instead.
Plenty of people will be, I'm sure.
But I want to try the first episode, and
Yeah.
it could be that it's good and the trailer's done it a disservice.
Indeed, yes. Of course, we've got no idea when we'll actually get to see the Lower Decks. I mean, the United States have got an air date that's August, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is weird, because you'd never launch a series in this country during August. That's when everybody's on holiday, so...
Maybe they don't do that in the US?
Do they not go on holiday?
Not necessarily in August. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
But anyway, so yes, we've got no idea. Again, we won't be covering it until you can legally watch it, so...
Yeah. And also, we don't know whether it's going to be an Amazon thing like Picard or whether it's going to be a Netflix thing like Discovery.
Or they might completely throw us for a loop and appear on Disney Plus, in which case we'll never get to see it because we're not having Disney Plus. Too many streaming services, not healthy for the wallet.
I tell you what, this is better than though.
Yeah.
These short treks.
Yeah.
those webisodes from Battlestar.
Well, I don't think you could compare them, really. They're two very different beasties, aren't they? Yes.
Because they were, I mean, the webisodes were very shonky quality, but they are quite old.
Oh, I mean, this is all quite shiny, isn't it? Even
if
you don't have a cast of thousands, but yeah.
I think the main thing for me with all of them is although I didn't like the animation style of the Baby Burnham one, none of them to me looked cheap.
Mm-hmm.
They all looked like and felt like, whatever I think of them as an individual, they felt like they were made with love.
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, good intentions for all of them.
Yeah.
Definitely, yes. I just think some of them work better than others.
Yeah.
And I think the experimentation with the animation is an interesting decision. As I say, I would love to know what the thinking behind it was, really, because it doesn't really add up in my mind. But anyway, let's not worry about that. Let's find out what Purry thinks of the shorts.
Hello, Orgs. Purry here to talk about short treks. Unlike the treks, I will keep this short. So, the first ones I want to speak about, kind of almost take them as a twofer, because they were very much a sales pitch, I think, both to us, the audience, and the executive board at CBS for the potential for a Pike series. So in that we have Ask Not and Q&A. Now, Ask Not's quite good, actually. I really like the way the tension ramped up, and it did have that sense of confusion. I was convinced. I was convinced for a bit, and then I kind of thought, is this a test of some description? How Starfleet like their weird psychological horror tests. And sure enough it was, but knowing that didn't distract from the performances, and indeed very much the two-hander, much like Q&A. Now, I did like how Spock was played a lot like the Cage Spock. So as his ensign self, he was a bit more shouty, he showed a bit more emotion, and I thought that worked quite well. I did like just the sort of 1 and 2 between the two characters, and the various random questions that came out while being stuck in a lift. Both of these were very much what I'd expect from a short trek, just a little aside adventure. Now, the next one is the trouble with Edward, and that one, I thought was okay. It had some fun elements to it. It had another spaceship, and indeed it seemed like one of the ones which they spent the most money on. We had a new spaceship. I think they were reusing some of the Enterprise sets, although I like seeing the triangular thing in the middle of the conference table. Yay, it's just nice to see. And this kind of crew who we never see again, but kind of the origin of the Tribbles. And yeah, it was a fun adventure, but a bit silly and forgettable. But again, nothing wrong with it. And Edward's quite an odd character, and the captain's kind of reacting, and the crew working with it. Them running through the ship trying to stun Tribbles was quite fun, and the wee Tribbles cereal ad at the end was also a good laugh. It was "We're pregnant with flavour." It's just like I say, they're mucking about a bit more. The two animated ones, it was interesting to see the animated ones. So, the girl who made the stars, I'm wondering if it's meant to be our Calypso, for all that we're still not seeing a resolution to Calypso. But I wonder if the glowy alien that's kind of featured in that is going to possibly make an appearance next season. I don't know, maybe. Nice enough story. I think the girl who made the stars, the only thing was it did seem a bit like almost like the intro to a Disney film. Rather than, and it's a testament to the quality of the animation that's how it looked. But it seemed a bit less Trek. It seemed almost only tangentially Trek. Whereas Ephraim and Dot was a Tom and Jerry cartoon, and a lot of fun. Well, possibly more Coyote Roadrunner. Either way, a lot of fun just to run through the lifespan of the Enterprise, and all of its adventures, all while the little tardigrade and the robot are kind of chasing each other. So yeah, I think overall they did some interesting things with this. Some were expected, some were less so, and I think I had a lot of fun with these. So nothing annoyed me, nothing ever bored me. I was none of them outstayed their welcome, and I really like it. I hope they continue to do these wee shorts, because it gives them just a chance to do something a bit different. They can seed plot points, but sometimes it's just mucking about. And indeed, at the time when I definitely did, when I travelled to America to first watch these, it was nice to see the Pike crew again, and indeed it was these that made me want a Pike series even more, which we've now got, so all good. So yeah, all that remains for me to say is do keep up the good work. I always look forward to the podcast, and as soon as someone puts Lower Decks on, I hope to see you guys soon, but until then, bye for now.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you also went to a Coyote and Roadrunner place.
Yes.
But I guess the thing with me is because I still find that appealing as an adult, I don't automatically think of it as for kids.
Right, whereas I don't think I've watched one of those cartoons for many a year, so yeah.
Oh no, I used to watch the Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner movie.
I know you did, and quote along as well.
Yeah, sorry.
So no, that's fine. If you enjoy it, that's cool. That's just, yeah, not a bit of my past I particularly go back to ever.
Oh, okay. Whereas, so yeah, it's just, I get where you're coming from with Warner Bros. References. It's just that for me that doesn't equal childhood.
And yeah, I suppose it would make some sense if their vagina alien appears in season 3, although I do hope it's slightly differently realised.
Going, vagina.
Oh dear. It'll be defeated by a giant Tampax or something, I don't know. But anyway.
God.
Wow, I should have been watching Starship 5, I think, instead of these, but never mind.
But I wanted a Pike series for ages. I'm not sure that the fans needed their appetites whetting for a Pike series, but maybe the execs did. Maybe part of the reason for having two of those is saying
sort
to
of
the
sales pitch.
Yeah, and in which case, brilliant, because it works, because we're going to have it.
Yep.
Yee.
Eventually. Anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
Jolly good. Well, there we are. That's our little run round the short tricks, and I have no idea if that's persuaded you to part with your hard-earned cash or not, if you haven't already watched the things by our other means, but yeah, they're all right. It's basically our conclusion.
They're fine. It's just I think the Blu-ray's overpriced. That's all.
Indeed. In terms of the future,
well, we're recording the next Galactica cast on the 24th.
Yes. So I will probably squeeze in another trip to the Final Frontier before our holidays.
Yes.
Lucky me. But I will have had a bit of a break. So, yes, I shall need to find a victim for that. And, yes, Borgcast Galactica continues. So we shall be recording that next week. But until then, cheerio, bye.
Bye.
As I walk along, I wonder what went wrong with our love, although it was so strong. And as I still walk on, I think of the things we've done together while our hearts were young.
All music referenced is for illustrative purposes only, and no copyright infringement is intended.
Find our website at borgcast.libsyn.com.
And we have a YouTube channel as well.
You can find the Borgcast playouts on Spotify for your listening pleasure.
Visit our Tumblr site at borgcast.tumblr.com, where you'll find images accompanying the episodes discussed in this cast.
Send emails or MP3s to borgcast@gmail.com.
Or you can contact us via Twitter on rev_org or borgcastammo. Hashtag Borgcast.
My little runaway, run away.
Shut it down!
In the world of clothes at C&amp.
Where fashion costs less, as always.